Hello, everybody. Good to be with you. So today I want us to investigate the world's oldest pointer. And we're going to see why it is that this world's oldest pointer is no more effective than it is, because it really doesn't wake many people up. No pointer does. Have you noticed that? There are all these great pointers, and you and I both have our pointer collection. And it's got some great pointers in it, shiny pointers, jeweled pointers, little straight pointers, crooked pointers, mirror pointers, all kinds of pointers. But virtually none of them wake us up. Have you noticed that? I noticed that, but I didn't notice it until after I woke up. And the pointers actually made sense to me. Then I could see that the pointers were true, but I could also see why they didn't wake anybody up. So the world's oldest pointer, I'm going to just go out on a limb and say that the world's oldest pointer is that you are not the body. So you are not the body. What if let's just take that on face value? Don't actually take it as a pointer. Let's don't try to figure out the secret meaning of it, or what's the real truth of that. Let's just take it at face value. You are not the body. So we'll start right there, which is that you are not the body. Now, this thing is not a lot, but it is not an idiot. So this thing is not going to waste its time telling a body that it's not the body. So I'm not talking to the body that's watching this video, because you are not the body. See, there was like some other you that wasn't the body, wasn't there? Or some other body or something, but that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking to something that is not that body. I may be talking to something that thinks it's that body. I may be talking to something that feels like it's that body. I may be talking to something that thinks it experiences that body, or that there's a sense of body, but I cannot be talking to a body, because you are not the body. And there would be no point in my talking to a body, because the body is what? It's a cadaver. And prior to and immediately after actually, I don't know about the prior to, it's a seed, but prior to that, what is it? But in the immediate aftermath of the withdrawal of animating presence from this unit, it is a cadaver. It flops on the ground, it starts stinking almost no time. So that's not what you are. So, and guess what? I'm not the body either. So I'm not the body and you're not the body, which means that regardless of what it looks like, this cannot be one body speaking to another body. There has to be something that's simply using this body to talk to something other than that body over there. You're not that body. Simple statement. So given the fact that you are not that body, if we just play along, if you don't get it right now, that's fine. Play along. Pretend you're not that body. It's the same thing will happen. Doesn't matter. You don't have to believe this stuff. You look at your thumb. Do you have to believe that's a thumb? Huh? If I don't believe that's my thumb, is it going to still operate? Yeah, I don't need to believe it's my thumb. It's my thumb. You don't need to believe what I'm telling you. All you can do is just check it. Check it for yourself. Get over here out of the light if I can. So let's just take it for granted for just a moment, devil's advocate. Let's just take it and say, you are not the body. Then what is it that's talking to you, and what is it that's being talked to? This body is not talking to another body. Because bodies actually can't talk. See, they're not animated. I can use this phone to talk with. There's my little dog, Willie. I could use this phone to talk with, but the phone itself doesn't talk. It's a tool. And I can also use this tool to take pictures with, but it doesn't take pictures by itself. It's an inanimate object. Only when an animate object is brought into contact with this inanimate object does this object function. It functions as a computer, it functions as a camera, it functions as a telephone, it functions as a texting machine, right? As an email machine. What's amazing what you can do. Hell, I can do my banking and everything else right from my telephone. But what is it that does it from the telephone if I'm not the body? Gee. What is it? There's something that's using this body and there's something that's using that one. See, this is one iPhone talking to another. Because see, it's not about the body, it's about the animating presence, isn't it? Because see, this body, we think that they're so good and we can do so much with them and they smell good and they feel good and we just love them to death. And then the animating with presence is withdrawn and they fall over on the floor and we want nothing more to do with it. God Almighty, right? And then, quick, bury it, burn it, do something, get it out of here. Because inanimate objects or inanimate units will just swell up and stink. That's what they do. They just die. But you don't, because you're not the body. So if we are not the body, what are we? What does that leave? Well, I don't know, but shall we, do you feel like we can probably use this body to discover that this body is not a body? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Does it make a lot of sense to you? See, what we're coming at is that we've heard that that there's no character. But what hears that is something that believes it's a body and something that believes it's a character. It's neither one. You're not the body. You're not the character. What's the character? I'm talking about the personality, if you will. The animating presence, the energetic presence here that does this, right? But when it does this, and the body is being used to do this, but it's not being used to do this by Fred. There's no Fred here. I've looked for 37 years. There's no Fred here. You check over there. I don't believe you'll be able to find evidence of a personal you over there. And I know if you come and talk to me, you will not be able to, because I watch people fail at it virtually every day. Just had somebody somewhere in Scandinavia discover it with me just today, just this morning. Came to see it very clearly. So if you're not the body, and you know why you're not the character? There is no character. At least there's a body. But there's no one at home inside the body. That's the character. Is the one that we think is inside the character. The one that we think is inhabiting the character. The one that we think is using the character. We think that's the character that we think is using the character. I mean, it's insane. It's the body. It's the character. We gotta discover the truth of this body and its character. Only there is no body. Only we're not the body, and we're not the character. So what does that leave to explore with? We're not the body, and we're not the character. Let me tell you something. On the day that I woke up back in 2006, I was walking down the steps of my in my old apartment, and I got almost to the bottom, and I had a book with me, Pointers from Nisargadatta, because you're going to ask. And I stopped near the bottom of the steps, and I read a sentence. And the sentence said, "When everything else is gone, what's left?" I probably hadn't heard something along that line more than 1,000 times. But I had not really investigated it closely. I just heard it and said, "Boy, that's cool. That's good. That's wise. I like that one. That's a good pointer." But I'm not going to use it to wake up. I just want to put it in my pointer collection. So let's look at that question now together, right now. When everything else is gone, what's left? You're not a body. This is not a body talking to a body. This is a virtual unit being used to talk to itself in the form of another virtual unit on the other side of the camera, so to speak. There's nobody here. There's nobody there. There's talking, but there's no one doing it. There's no one getting it. There's a parent teaching, but there's no one teaching it and no one else over there getting it. You are not the body. So in the absence of the body, what are you? Well, I'm the character. But no, there's no character either. You just have to trust me. Just what if you did trust me for just a minute? And I told you that the character is, I mean, all of us, just so you know, I mean, I already know where you are, okay? Because people come to me every single day. And I already know that you know intellectually that there's no character. You have seen this. And you can tell me, well, there's no Bob. Bob is just a construct. Isn't that right? Maybe you're not there, but you probably are there. And if you're not, you'll be there soon. And it won't do you any good. But you got to go there until you don't. So if there's no body here, and there's no Fred here, then what's here? Whatever it is that isn't a Fred and isn't this body has got to be that which is talking to that thing over there that is neither a body nor an individual me. So this is something unknown talking to something unknown. I want you to notice right away how much more comfortable that is. Instead of saying what you are, you know, or what you're not, say what you are, which is something unknown. There's something unknown here. There's a mystery here. And see, what I want to do is I want to discover the mystery. The only problem being is that there's no I here to discover the mystery. There's only the mystery. Now, the mystery can notice the mystery or it cannot. That which doesn't know what it is can discover that it's not a body. It can discover that it's not a character. But it can't discover that it is that. It can never discover that it is that over there because there is no that over there. There's no there there. There's just. Because that would be that's part of everything. When everything is gone, what's left? Right now, the computers vanish. Everything vanishes. The body vanishes. The ears vanish. The mouth vanishes. What's left? What's left here? whatever it is, what is it that whatever it is that you are finds here in the absence of a personal me? And you have to remember that we're not taking a personal me out of this picture. There's simply never been a personal me in it. This is something unknown, talking to something unknown. It may be using bodies to do it, but it's not these bodies. The carpenter is not the hammer is not the character. The carpenter can use the hammer, but that doesn't mean the hammer is equal to the carpenter. In the absence of the body, do you need the world? In the absence of a character, because there's no character, there's just something that believes it's a Fred, right? It doesn't even believe that over here anymore. But that doesn't mean it can't still grab hold of a Fred thought and go, you know, down a little rabbit hole for a few seconds or something. It can happen, but it won't last long. And I don't know what it is that can grasp that thought and go down the rabbit hole. I don't know what I am. That's the truth of it. There's something unknown here, which means that I don't know what I am. As a matter of fact, I don't even know that I am. Now we think of that. We think this I am is the most basic thing that we can know. What do we know if we don't know anything else? And every non-dualist in the world say, I know I am. If I don't know anything else, I know that I am. Well, I don't know that. What is it? I don't even know what it's saying that I don't know what it is. I can report that there's a sense of being, and I think you can too. You check. Can you really say I am, or can you tell me that there's a sense of being? Which is more true? There's a sense of being. The sense of something is not the same thing as the truth of something, is it? I had a sense it was going to rain today. It's been dry as a bone. I had a false sense of coming rain. And it might have rained. The sense of rain can point to the truth of rain, but it doesn't have to. There's something unknown over here. You don't know what I am. You think I'm a Fred Davis. You think I'm a spiritual teacher. You think I'm this body. You think I live in Columbia, South Carolina. You think I'm married to Betsy Hackett Davis and that I'm the owner of Willie and Jack Hackett, when really I am their servant. But none of those things are true. There's no that I am not this body. I'm not this Fred. I do not have a home. I am home. And when I say I am, it's only because I'm hobbled by language. It's not because I can really state that I am. I can state there's a sense of being. But I can't report even being. A lot of people want to take what I say when I talk about the sense of being, they want to turn that into being when we have a awakening session. So they start talking about the being. I don't know nothing about that being. I know nothing of being. And I know nothing of becoming. I know the sense of being. But that's all I know. Is the sense of being. There's a sense of being over here. There's a sense of being over there. Do you think they're different? Are they different? Is it the body that has the sense of being, or is it the sense of being that has a sense of body? Does the body have a sense of a character, or is there a make-believe something having an experience of conditioning? This unit, conditions, it was trained, whatever it is. It was trained to believe it was a Fred. But we see that there's clearly no Fred over here. I mean, you would think after 40 years I could find one, right? I can't. When everything else is gone, what remains? The body is gone. Your home is gone. The planet is gone. The solar system is gone. Even outer space is gone. What remains? It's the sense of being, isn't it? But it's a sense of being. There's an experience of being, but there's no experiencer. You check. Don't believe my, don't take my word for it. Notice right now that there's an experience, there's a livingness, there's a sense of aliveness here. Whose is it? No body, no character, no planet, no universe. What remains? It's that sense of being, isn't it? Does not still remain? And what could be most closely equated with that in a way that we might understand it just a little bit better, or think we do? Is this other than? Is this sense of being? Is it being noticed by attention? Or is attention arising from the sense of being? I'm going to suggest it's the latter. A sense of consciousness, an experience of consciousness arises. But does the sense of being arise within that, or does that arise directly from the sense of being? Sense of being is what's most primal. There's this sense of being. That is not a statement that there's being. So saying there's a sense of being is not the same thing as telling you I am God. It's not the same thing as telling you that you are God. What I can tell you is that we have a servant named God. And he does all of this for us. Unbelievable. And there's not even an us here. There's a sense of us. There's a sense of being. Is there any being? And if there's no being, is there any becoming? Do you notice that this has more questions to it than it does answers? Because the answers will never tell you anything. Answers can only apply to a character. Answers will only satisfy or fail to satisfy a body. Questions is what opens you up. Questioning, inquiring, investigating. When everything else is gone, what's left? There's this sense of presence, isn't there? There's a sense of presence. Now let's just check real quickly. Is a sense of presence the same thing as presence? Nope, it isn't. So when the sense of presence is gone, what's left? Unknowable. It's prior to knowing. Indescribable. It's prior to description. Inexperienceable. It is prior to experience. We want to know what we are, but what we are is prior to that we. It's just prior. There's just something / nothing prior. Notice that. And what is it that's noticing that? It's that that's noticing that, isn't it? See, there's nothing other than that to notice that. And that can't notice it in the conventional way, which is I notice something over there because there's no over there, over there. There's no over here, over here. There's just this unexplainable arising that's coming out of nothing. Which apparently we here can't happen, but what was prior to the Big Bang? Try to just go there if you can. You can't. You can't. Well, there was nothing prior to the Big Bang. So all of this came out of nothing? No, nothing. No, something can't come out of nothing. Well, hell, it does. I noticed that. When everything else is gone, what remains? What remains is you. But what remains is what you really are, not what that character body experiencing thinks it is. You can't be thought about. You can't be understood. You can't be grasped. Trying to grasp it means there's someone trying to grasp a concept, which means that this is beyond concepts. It's beyond opposites. See, this is the way relativity works, but you're prior to that. You ain't that, you're this. And skip the little green dots, eh? Some of you have had a good glimpse of this thing as we've talked here today. Some of you have felt something, fire, but you're not clear on what happened. Quit asking who you are. Quit asking what you are. Just for a while. You can have them back later if you want them, but they hadn't been effective up to now, have they? Start asking when everything else is gone, what's left? I wish you luck and love. Bye-bye.